revealing the psychological traps of gamblers to apply them for effective investing. Today, I will take you into the glamorous world of casinos to explore the lives of professional gamblers, people who seem to win every single time. What secrets do they really hold? Are you curious? But please note, my purpose is not to encourage gambling. Rather, through analyzing these psychological strategies, we aim to help ourselves stay clear-headed in all areas of life and make wiser decisions. Whether you are interested in psychology or want to improve your decision-making skills in work and life, this video will offer you valuable advice. Imagine pushing open the heavy door of a casino. You are greeted by a dazzling scene and lively sounds. Slot machines sparkling with bright lights, cheers ringing from the roulette tables, crowds bustling around the blackjack tables. The atmosphere is tense and exciting, as if this is a parallel world separated from reality, a place where everyone desires to become rich amidst the thrill. However, in this place, seemingly full of opportunities, only very few truly succeed in the long run. According to statistics from the Las Vegas Tourism Board, over 80% of players leave the casino having lost money. Even more astonishing, a study on gambling addicts found that about 85% admitted to chasing losses. That is, continuing to gamble to recover money they had lost. So what enables a small number of people to survive this brutal game of chance, while most lose everything? The answer lies deep in human nature and the way we think. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to follow the channel to learn more truths about money and help you quickly achieve financial freedom. Welcome to The Path to Prosperity. In this content, we will analyze the psychological traps gamblers often fall into, how professional players avoid these traps, and use unique psychological strategies to consistently beat the house. More importantly, we will learn how to apply this knowledge in everyday life to improve our decision-making skills. First, let's analyze the psychological traps players often face. These traps not only exist in casinos, but also appear throughout daily life. Understanding how these traps work will help us see ourselves more clearly and avoid making costly mistakes when making important decisions. The first trap is called optimistic illusion. Have you heard of beginner's luck? Many people entering a casino for the first time believe they are lucky. This phenomenon is called optimistic illusion in psychology. A study by psychologist Weinstein showed that students often underestimate the time needed to complete their thesis by about 30%. This excessive optimism is even more obvious in casinos. Another example, research shows 68% of lawyers in civil cases believe their side will win, but the actual win rate is only 50%. In casinos, this overconfidence can cause you to lose big. Imagine walking into a casino, seeing people cheering as they win money and thinking, if they can win, so can I. Soon you might be broke. This is the danger of optimistic illusion. The second trap is called illusion of profit. Imagine you have lost 10 million. What do you do next? Do you bet one more time to try to win back your losses? If yes, you've fallen into the illusion of profit trap. This mistake is like an invisible whirlpool pulling players deeper into risky betting. The money lost is like spilled water. We should make new rational decisions instead of being obsessed with past losses. Nobel-winning economist Richard Thaler did an interesting experiment. He gave volunteers 2 lottery tickets, one free and one purchased, then asked them to choose which to give up. People tended to give up the free ticket rather than the one they bought, even though the bought ticket had a lower chance to win. This is called the sunk cost fallacy. Another everyday example, you buy a movie ticket but find the film boring halfway through. Do you stay and watch or leave? Many stay because they paid, but leaving to do something better is wiser than wasting time. The third trap is gambler's fallacy. Have you noticed the big screens showing results in casinos? They are not placed randomly. People tend to guess the next outcome based on previous random results. For example, if the roulette wheel lands on red 5 times in a row, you might think black is more likely next. But each spin is independent, and past results don't affect the next. The fourth trap is called illusion of control. Players often believe they can influence or control game results. Most people place their trust in something that they think will help them succeed. For example, wearing red clothes at New Year for luck, or choosing lottery numbers they believe are lucky. Psychologist Ellen Langer did an experiment where volunteers played cards with a visibly anxious opponent. Participants felt more confident and bet higher when the opponent looked stressed, showing how people overestimate their control. Another study asked participants to press or not press a button before a pre-recorded sound played. Many believe their action caused the sound, even though it was random. This illusion can make gamblers overconfident, pushing them to bet more. In life, this illusion can cause us to overestimate our influence on big issues, such as believing we have a special role or mission within a group. The fifth trap is selective memory. People tend to remember the joy of winning and forget or downplay the pain of losing. This leads to a distorted self-view where players overestimate their winning frequency and earnings. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman discussed this in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Our brain works in 2 systems. The first is fast and automatic. The second is slow and thoughtful. Selective memory is a product of the first system. It automatically filters out unpleasant memories and keeps happy ones. For example, a gambler might recall winning $5 million on a bet, but forget losing $10 million overall. Selective memory helps maintain a positive mood, but can cause poor decisions. Again, the goal here is not to encourage gambling, which can cause serious financial and psychological harm. We strongly advise avoiding gambling and applying these insights only to meaningful life decisions. So, how do professional gamblers avoid these traps and make long-term profits in casinos? Let's explore their psychological strategies. First, stay rational. Professional gamblers, like economists, understand probability and statistics. They don't get influenced by short-term wins or losses. Even facing losing streaks, they stay calm because they know that sticking to the right strategy will lead to success in the long run. The mighty blackjack team is a typical example. This group of students from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology used precise mathematical models to earn millions of dollars in the 1990s. Their success was not based on luck, but on deep understanding of probability and patience. For example, in the game of blackjack, professional players usually apply the basic strategy, a strategy based on calculating optimal probabilities. Even if they lose several rounds in a row, they continue to use this strategy because they know that in the long run, it will bring maximum profit. This rational thinking ability is not only useful in casinos, but also in areas like investing in business. A clear example is quantitative trading on Wall Street, where traders use complex mathematical models to analyze the market and make trading decisions without being influenced by short-term fluctuations. The second point, strict financial management is necessary. Have you ever heard stories of gamblers losing everything? A professional gambler would never let that happen to themselves. They always set a clear budget for each session and follow it strictly whether they win or lose. For example, they may set a daily loss limit of 1% of their total capital. When they reach this limit, whether winning or losing, they immediately stop and leave the casino. This works like an insurance for themselves. The famous gambler Johnny Chan mentioned in his autobiography that he never carried a credit card into casinos, only cash with a carefully calculated budget. This strict self-control helped him make profits over the long term. This financial management strategy can also be applied in daily life. For example, setting a loss limit in investing helps control risks effectively. When shopping, setting a budget and sticking to it can prevent wasteful spending. Warren Buffett once said, "Be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful." This is a smart financial management approach that helps us think against the crowd and control risk. The third point, emotional control is essential. Casinos are places full of emotional ups and downs. However, you will never see professional players lose control of their emotions. Whether winning big or losing heavily, they stay calm. This emotional control is one of their strongest weapons. In the famous book Emotional Intelligence, psychologist Daniel Goleman pointed out that EQ often matters more than IQ in determining a person's success. Professional players are perfect examples of people with high emotional intelligence. In a famous psychological experiment called the marshmallow test, researchers gave children a marshmallow and told them that if they could wait 15 minutes without eating it, they would get a second one. Results showed that children who could control their desire tended to succeed more in their studies and work later in life. Similarly, in casinos, players who can control their emotions can make reasonable decisions and avoid mistakes caused by impulsiveness. For example, after a losing streak, players often feel frustrated and increase their bets hoping to recover, which leads to bigger losses. But professional players calmly analyze the situation and persist with their planned strategy. This emotional control is important not only in casinos, but also in life. Whether facing work pressure or handling conflicts in relationships, keeping emotions stable helps us make better decisions. The fourth point, continuous learning is necessary. A professional player never stops learning. They constantly study the rules, analyze data, and even develop their own algorithms to increase their chances of winning. For example, in the 1960s, a math professor developed the card counting method in blackjack, giving players an advantage in some situations. Although casinos have since taken countermeasures, this example shows the importance of constant learning and innovation. Next is the legend Don Bronson, who not only mastered many poker styles, but also continuously studied psychology to understand his opponents better. He once said that poker is a game about people, not just cards. In everyday life, continuous learning habits are also very important. Whether at work or in personal life, updating knowledge and skills helps us maintain a competitive advantage. Famous writer Isaac Asimov once said, "Self-education, I firmly believe, is the only kind of education there is." Lifelong learning not only helps us adapt to the fast-changing world, but also keeps the brain flexible and prevents cognitive decline. Studies show that continuously learning new knowledge and skills strengthens neural connections and improves cognitive ability. The fifth point, be aware of the casino's advantage. A professional player understands that the house always has the edge, so they choose games that give the smallest advantage to the house. For example, in roulette, the chance of winning when betting on a single number is 135, but the actual probability is 137, and this difference is the casino's edge. Professional players avoid risky bets with low returns and choose games with less advantage for the house. In blackjack, using the basic strategy can reduce the casino's advantage to about 0.5%. Some professional players even use card counting to gain an edge in certain cases, although this method is banned in many casinos. This shows the importance of staying aware and taking advantage. Famous poker player Daniel Negreanu once said, "Don't just look at your own cards, look at the whole table." This quote shows the comprehensive thinking of a smart player. In real life, this way of thinking is also very useful. For example, when choosing investment products, we need to understand the risks and profits of each product, then select those with controllable risks and stable returns. In business negotiations, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of both sides helps us build the strongest possible strategy. You might think I'm not talking about gambling and these things don't apply to you. But in fact, psychological knowledge and these strategies can also be applied in our daily life. Let's see how to use these principles in the stock market. Many people also fall into similar psychological traps. Overconfidence can make you overestimate your ability to pick stocks, while the illusion of profit can prevent you from cutting losses in time. Imagine you bought a stock, but its price is starting to fall. You might think you have invested too much already and decide to wait a little longer. This is a classic example of the illusion of profit. The right approach is to be like professional players. Calmly analyze the current situation, and if the outlook is not good, decisively cut losses. Famous investor Peter Lynch once said, "Knowing why you bought a stock is more important than knowing what stock you own." This emphasizes the importance of rational analysis. Also, capital management strategies can apply to stock investing. Setting clear loss limits and following disciplined investing are essential qualities of successful investors. Warren Buffett's principle of never losing money is a prime example in investing. Continuous learning is also very important because the market environment is always changing. Only by constantly learning, updating knowledge, and understanding new trends can you maintain an advantage in investing. As Charlie Munger said, "All the smart people I've met in life, from different fields, they all learn every day." Finally, it is important to realize that the market always has uncertainties, just like the casino always has an edge. Therefore, diversifying investments and controlling risks are extremely important. This is also why many financial advisors encourage investors to build diversified portfolios. In work, we often have to make decisions. If you can avoid being controlled by emotions and keep your reason, the quality of your decisions will improve significantly. For example, in project management, we often face the situation of deciding whether to continue a project when it is facing difficulties. At this time, you need to be cautious of the sunk cost fallacy. Don't hold on just because you have invested a lot of resources. Instead, be like professional players. Calmly analyze the current situation and future prospects, then make a reasonable decision. Famous manager Peter Drucker once said, "Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things." This quote emphasizes the importance of making the right decisions at work. The ability to control emotions, like professional players, is also very necessary in the workplace. When facing pressure, handling conflicts, or negotiating, staying calm can help us make better decisions. As former General Electric CEO Jack Welch said, "Face reality as it is, not as it was or as you wish it to be." Also, a continuous learning attitude is something we should adopt in work. In this fast-changing era, only by learning new knowledge and skills can we maintain a competitive advantage. LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman emphasized the importance of learning. Your greatest asset is your ability to learn continuously. Having a clear understanding of your advantages is also very important at work. Knowing your own strengths and weaknesses as well as those of your team will help you build the most effective work strategies. As legendary manager Peter Drucker once said, "The task of management is to make people's strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant." Even in personal life, these principles can help you. For example, don't keep a relationship just because you have invested too much into it when it is unhappy. This is the sunk cost fallacy. Learn to analyze rationally and be decisive like professional players. Psychologist John Gottman found that for a successful relationship, positive and negative interactions need to happen at a ratio of at least 5-1. This calculation is like probability, helping us objectively assess the health of a relationship. In daily spending, we can also learn the capital management strategy of professional players. Setting a budget and strictly following it helps avoid uncontrolled spending and waste. Financial expert Dave Ramsey also recommends using the envelope budgeting method, which is very similar to how gamblers control their betting money. Similarly, the emotional controllability of professional players is very useful in relationships. When facing conflict or pressure, staying calm and rational can help us make the right decisions and maintain good relationships. As psychologist Daniel Goleman said in his book, Emotional Intelligence, Success in life depends 90% on emotional intelligence. A continuous learning attitude is also very important in personal life. Constantly learning new knowledge and skills not only makes life richer, but also increases confidence and improves life quality. Remember, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Having a clear awareness of your strengths and weaknesses, like professional players who understand the casino's advantages, can help us make wiser decisions in life. Philosopher Socrates once said, "Know thyself, and this is the key to wisdom and happiness." Remember, whether in the casino or in life, staying clear-headed and maintaining strong self-control is the real secret to winning. Did you know one of life's greatest discoveries is that people can change their outer life situation by changing their inner attitude? I hope through today's sharing, you can keep your reason when facing life's challenges and make wise decisions. Finally, I want to end with an old casino saying, "A casino doesn't need windows or clocks because they don't want you to know the time." So in life, don't forget to stay clear-headed and control your own destiny. Thank you for watching today's content. If you find it valuable, please share it with your friends and family. Follow me to learn more about the secrets of money. Best regards and see you again.